Now, yesterday at Prime Minister's Questions, Boris Johnson said a new energy independence plan would be set out in the coming days. While no one expects it to establish total energy independence, of course, it will aim to exclude particularly Russian hydrocarbons from our energy mix. And as the Prime Minister's spokesman told me yesterday, nothing is off the table. Yet there's been a remarkable journey of government policy over the last 3 days, particularly when it comes to natural gas. On Monday, the government told me, quote, "We have set out our position on fracking before, and that hasn't changed." He added, "We know that fracking currently comes with a high price on communities in the countryside." That was on Monday, the 7th of March. But by Tuesday, the position seemed to wobble. No longer was the Prime Minister's spokesman talking about communities in the countryside. He told me that it would simply take years of exploration and development before the quantities of shale gas needed could be produced. That seemed to be a wobble. Then on Wednesday, the 9th of March, the Prime Minister's spokesman said, "It's clear we need to move away from our reliance on Russian hydrocarbons, so I think that everyone would expect the Prime Minister to look at all options." That's a change from, at the start of the week, saying that fracking was dangerous and would take too long, to just yesterday saying that all options are on the table. But let's look beyond just British natural shale gas and explore the whole energy mix as it should be in the coming years. Joining me now is Andy Meyer of the Institute of Economic Affairs. Welcome to the programme, Andy. First of all, let's explore the nuclear issue, because Boris Johnson seemed to emphasise that new nuclear was going to be the most important part of this mix and welcomed the Labour Party's change of their stance on the issue. How soon can we see new nuclear coming to this country?
Well, I think we all hope that they're right on that. The fundamental issue with nuclear is the promises to date have never matched reality. So where you would hope, if you plan a new nuclear power station today, you would get it in 5 to 10 years. The reality has been more like 10 to 20 years, and the cost of doing so has usually been about 2 to 3 times higher than the companies have said they would deliver. So nuclear has always been the promise that never delivered. But it's entirely possible that the next generation of nuclear reactors could come on stream. We're all looking at the Rolls-Royce project for small modular reactors and thinking maybe there's something there. And everybody's rooting for nuclear to succeed, but we really need the companies to be able to deliver on their promises. Otherwise, we end up in the same situation as we've had with Hinkley Point, which has been an enormous and expensive disappointment. And that then undermines the case for new nuclear in future.
Suppose new nuclear takes time. This is a medium to long-term solution to our energy needs. Is there anything that can be done in the short term that would help? It's interesting looking at the government's position on British natural shale gas onshore seeming to shift.
I mean, that, if it happens, would be fantastic news. There is nothing that can be done faster and deliver a bigger bang for its buck in terms of the energy intensity of gas compared to, for example, the renewable alternatives or even energy efficiency projects. So it's really important that the government follows through with what is looking like a screeching U-turn. I mean, we are in a period of energy policy hyperinflation where I have to keep checking Twitter to find out what's changed next. But if they are serious about this, then the faster they do it, the better. There is no environmental case left to test. The seismicity case is rubbish. They just need to start those wells getting drilled. They need to change the planning regulations to enable it to happen faster. And they need to tell the green activists to just grow up, because they're just being obstructive, and it's all about leaving it in the ground for them, which is not a serious proposition when we're in a conflict situation in Europe.
But is it a serious proposition to start fracking now? How soon would that gas be able to come on stream in the UK? How soon could that shore up our energy security? Because it will take time.
Well, I was with the onshore operators in Parliament on Monday, and the wells that are already there, the test wells around which there's been a debate about whether or not they should be filled in, those could be ready as soon as 3 months. If you have a new well situation, it's anything from 6 months to a year. And then to get those wells up to capacity, it's about a year to 4 years. So it's a very fast turnaround compared, for example, to 5 to 7 years to get an offshore wind farm going. It's a faster proposition if you've got a big supply crunch going in on all other energy markets, because the materials won't be available. Whereas here we'd be importing stuff directly from the US in terms of the technology and the expertise.
That 3 months does sound fairly rapid, although the 1 year to full capacity, that's still a year away. It's going to be a very tricky year for consumers, no matter which avenue is taken. I suppose, first of all, the government needs to deliver a very screeching U-turn on its proposals to concrete up the few fracking wells that we do actually have in this country.
Yes, and they've really annoyed the operators in the way they've done that, because it actually takes time to hire in the concrete machines from Holland in order to fill them in. So Cordrilla have done that. They were sitting up there in Blackpool, and then we're seeing different things happening in their communications, so they're not entirely sure what they're supposed to do. So the government needs to be extremely clear that they are getting behind this technology and going to enable it to happen and getting on with it.
Well, it's been a fascinating story to follow, even over the last 3 days, where that position, as I set out at the start of this interview, seems to have moved. It'll be really, really interesting to see if anything more develops